The animal that you see in my hand here is a giant Japanese centipede. Now this is a very small version. This is not a very large one. They might get much, much larger. And this one is dead. And I went to my wife. She just found this as we were walking, and I've been trying to get a good photo of this animal for a long time, for many years. Whenever I uncover them in a log or elsewhere, they always zip away so fast I can never get a good shot. So here we have one that's recently deceased that we can take a good look at and talk about. Now, centipedes are very common throughout the world. They're in fact one of the most common predators in terms of biomass. All over the world, they're found everywhere from the tropics to beyond the Arctic Circle. They're very adaptable. They're very highly adaptable creatures. They're not insects. They're arthropods, and they have. Although centipede refers to 100 legs, they have anywhere up to 300 legs. So the number of legs varies quite a bit. One curious characteristic of centipedes is that they'd always have an odd number of pairs of legs. Always 15 or 17 or some odd number, never even. With so many legs, it's easy to have some special adaptations. For example, here at the back we have the rearmost legs that are extended in a backwards manner, almost like antennae in insects, and they serve a similar type of function, but you can see that they are indeed legs, comparing them to the others. There is a pair of legs coming out of each of the body segments, as you can see here. Beautiful, beautiful coloration. This is a venomous animal, and its coloration is a warning to others to stay clear. Now if we get up towards the top, we can see the antennae there. And let's turn the animal over. Look at the head there. Well, before we turn it over, let's see if we can get a shot of these eyes. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. The eyes of centipedes are not very good in terms of ability to see. At best, they can determine dark and light shade. They will have groups of eyes formed together to form a true compound eye, but they cannot see very well. And that fits with their lifestyle. Centipedes do not have a waxy cuticle over their bodies, such as insects, and as a result they lose moisture easily, and therefore they have to stay in moist places like under logs or rocks or the like. That's why you don't see them typically running around, especially during the day. They come out at night and they stay hidden during the day. So the body of the centipede is susceptible to drying out. Okay, let's flip the animal over now. I'm going to do it on this rock. There we go. Let's flip it over and we can take a look at the underside. Now the underside of the animal, you can see all of the body segments. I'll try to move the camera slowly here. In fact, let's bring in a magnifying glass. Maybe we can see it closer with that. Well, I think that might help. All the body segments there. Okay, now let's take a look at the mouth here. The mouth, I was mentioned earlier that the legs have been adapted to many purposes, such as the antennae-like structures in the back. This is true with the mouth as well. Well, not really a mouth. You see the jaws there? Those aren't really true jaws. Those are the first pair of legs of the centipede that have been modified into a jaw-like appendage, and they do contain venom, and they can deliver a painful bite. The mouth is further up there. There's a special structure located near the mouth that may be used for sensing vibrations that centipedes have. Let's take a moment to look at the body. I was told once before that the legs, all of the legs, contain venom glands, and you can see the point on the legs. And that a biology teacher once told me this, that if a large centipede runs across you, that they can leave indentations wherever their legs touch, little marks where the venom has gone in. I don't know that that's true, but I heard it from someone who I trust. Beautiful, beautiful animal. So now, like I said before, this is a small specimen. Let's take a look again at the size. They can get much, much larger, and they're very fast and very aggressive. If you've ever seen a centipede feeding, you'll understand that the term voracious certainly would apply to the way that this animal eats. It is a voracious eater. Now they will bite, as I said before, and as I was coming over to film this, I showed it to my father-in-law, and he told me that he remembers being bitten when he was a boy. He was bitten on the foot, and he described it as a very painful bite. And he said that in his house, when he was growing up, he lived in a traditional Japanese farmhouse surrounded by fields. The Mukade would commonly come into the house, frequently find them in the futon and elsewhere in the house. He said that they weren't necessarily an unwelcome pest because the family had good use for them. They used the Mukade to make medicines. He described two types of medicines to me. The first was a medicine, and both medicines were used for treating cuts and bruises. The first medicine was to take a jar of sesame oil and drop 1 or 2 centipedes into the jar and basically let them sit in the jar for a long while, and that would become a medicine, an ointment that could then be rubbed on cuts and bruises. So a Mukade sesame oil medicine. The second medicine he described was made from shochu, a type of sake. And again, the centipede would be dropped, one or more centipedes would be dropped into the shochu and allowed to, I don't know, sit, soak up, whatever it is. And again, that could be rubbed on a wound and have the same healing effect. So a traditional Japanese balm for cuts and scrapes used from the giant Japanese centipede.